What's up, Galaxy fans? The wait is almost over. For 2025, Major League Soccer is truly 30 for 30, celebrating its 30th season while introducing San Diego FC to bring the number of clubs to 30. With Mexican superstar Irving Chucky Lozano leading the charge, Los Santos are ready to invade Los Angeles this Sunday. Can the reigning champions continue their undefeated run at the dig, or will San Diego shock the Galaxy? Let's get into it.
You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
Welcome to News Across the Galaxy, where we talk all things LA Galaxy. This is the MidWeek show, and I'm your host, as always, Edgar. Joining me on the ones and twos is Brian. Can we have some clapping for Brian? Some horns, maybe. Yeah. To help us preview this weekend's season opener and give us some insight into San Diego FC, please let's give a warm welcome to friend of the show, Chiva, from Two Balls and a Mic podcast. Welcome back, Chiva.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, the time is almost here. You must be really excited. How do you feel right now? Tell me.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. I went up to the Coachella Invitational to see San Diego FC have their first technically preseason game against an MLS side, and it was a little worrying seeing them lose 3-1 against New York. But it's preseason. It's the first time these players are playing together. But now it's getting down to the first official MLS game, and it's against the defending champions, LA Galaxy. So it's exciting stuff. I know a lot of supporters down here are excited. I think there's like 800 supporters making the trip up to Galaxy, to Carson to watch the game. So it's exciting stuff for San Diego right now.
Let's talk about Coachella Valley for a bit because I was there and Brian was there over this weekend. And my experience, I mean, it's something I've never got a chance to do before, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic to be there, not just to see our team because they served that up like the main platter, right? Like in noon when it was the hottest. It was pretty hot, by the way. But the fact that there were so many MLS fans there were people from San Diego and from New York, Minnesota, New England. I met a couple brothers Salvadoreños that live in Boston. I met all these wonderful people and all that in just one day. And this thing had stretched out for like a week and a half. I wish I could have been there for other stuff, but life. But it was just nice being there. And many Galaxy fans got an opportunity to buy the new kit. I'm not exactly a fan because, well, I'm a Clipper fan, and to me, it's purple, and purple belongs to Orlando. But hey, you know what? It's not a bad kit. It's just not LA Galaxy. But more on that when I do my kit review. But for now, real quick, LA Galaxy, they played against Chicago. Kind of disappointing performance. A bad giveaway by Mickey Yamane. Gave up the only goal in the game. Galaxy had some opportunities to hit the bar a few times. And they look rusty, right? It's they're getting back after a very short season, off season for them. But now it's time to really start to prepare, not just for Major League Soccer, but also for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And meanwhile, like I said, San Diego was there. And it was really interesting because we're used to dealing with San Jose Earthquakes fans. We're used to dealing with LAFC fans, but now there's somebody else in the mix, somebody that's right down the road, and San Diego is there. Chiva, what was it like? Well, what do you think it was like for San Diego fans to be there all of a sudden there in the mix of other MLS fans, and especially talking to fans from up here in LA and then San Jose as well?
Yeah, no. So I know for that first Coachella Invitational, they had a good amount of supporters making the trip to just kind of bang on the drums and cheer on the team. And, it's a good amount of people that went up there. The team, again, they lost 3-1 against New York City FC. And then midweek, they lost to Portland 3-0. And then surprisingly, they beat Red Bull 6-0 this weekend. So exciting stuff there. But yeah, the supporters are definitely kind of rallying up. I know they're still trying to grow their numbers. They're trying to pack out Snapdragon, that supporter section. I believe there's over 2,000 union members already in the supporter section that are registered. So The numbers are getting bigger, but yeah, we'll see what that looks like. And again, 800 fans, 800 supporters are making the trip. I think that's a good amount, a good number for an away game.
Oh man, that's gonna be just like the game against Red Bull New York. They're pretty loud, and you saw them everywhere. What are Galaxy fans supposed to expect from San Diego fans? Like the first time we spoke, because you guys have been on the show before. We spoke about the rivalry between San Diego and LA.
Mhm.
Such close rivals, right? Even closer than San Jose. And there exists that rivalry already in baseball between the Dodgers and the Padres, but how does that translate into MLS? What are we to expect from the San Diego fans?
I think from the San Diego fans, you're still going to be hearing those beat LA chants. I think it doesn't get any better than that when you're from San Diego. You're definitely going to try to be loud when you're there, and you're going to try to outshine any other supporter group that's there. Obviously, that's going to be very difficult over there in Carson with the Galaxy supporters, but I don't think you'll expect rowdiness. You won't expect a lot of trash talking. I think they'll try to be kind of respectful as well, knowing that they're the new kids on the block, but they're also going to try to make a name for themselves. So again, it's exciting to see what they're going to bring. But yeah, like I'm to be honest, I'm a lot more excited to see what happens on the field.
Okay, before we get back into the Galaxy versus San Diego game, let's talk a little bit about some Galaxy news. There have been some rumors going around. There was a rumor that LA Galaxy was interested in a player from France. Uh, it turns out it's just somebody stirring the pot. I contacted our good friend out and that covers the LA Galaxy France. He said, "Nah, it's a bunch of BS. Don't believe that." It was a player that the Galaxy was supposed to be pursuing to replace Gabriel Peck, and that's the center of all this, right? Because we all know what kind of impact Gabriel Peck had on this team last season, and a lot of people are expecting him to be in the mix for MLS MVP this upcoming season because he put up some MVP numbers last season. But the rumor that's been swirling around, and at first it was just a little bit of smoke, and now it's really starting to get some traction, is that maybe Gabriel Peck will head back home to Brazil, to Palmeiras of all places. So I contacted our good buddy Leonardo, who like lives out in Brazil. I asked him, "Hey, what's up with this rumor?" And this is what he had to say. He said, "Yeah, I've heard some rumblings about that in Palmeiras circle, but nothing from any kind of reliable source, just heavy speculation." And he said, "I'll be honest with you, Peck is not very well seen here in Brazil after the way his run with Vasco da Gama ended. So I'm not sure Palmeiras would risk such a move. I don't think there's much merit to these rumors at all, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if LA Galaxy loses Peck, they are extra cooked." Especially at this time right now, because Joseph Pinto will be out for at least 5 more weeks. Ricky Puig won't be back until sometime in July. And although LA Galaxy did pick up some new players to replace some of the ones that have left, of course, it's going to take a while for them to come into the team and get acclimated and get used to Banny's system. So there's a lot of stuff in motion right now. And hearing these rumors about Peck going back to Brazil, hey, maybe it's just a little bit of excitement before the season begins. Silly season is always up there. But that also leads us to speak about Mateus Nascimento, who was seen at Coachella Valley. Um, I'm not going to say who it is, but a good friend of the show said he saw Mateus Nascimento. He wanted to take a photo of him. As he was doing so, Galaxy PR was like, you're not allowed to do that. But the fact is that he was there. He was wearing Galaxy gear and Galaxy training gear. So now maybe it's just a question of figuring out contracts, and who knows? Maybe they're going to announce them sometime this week. Maybe not. Maybe not by the end of the week. Maybe next week. But the fact that he is in town, it's a big thing. People don't just travel, halfway across the world for fun just to show up and watch a game in the desert. So if he does come in, it gives Galaxy some depth up top. Christian Ramirez is obviously going to be a main scorer, a main target to score. But having somebody like a Mateus Nascimento come in there, a tall forward who is a threat on headers, and he's hungry. He's friends with Gabriel Peck. You know they're going to have some kind of synergy. That's always exciting. But let's head back to the game that was coming up soon. Um, Chiva, what can you tell us about San Diego FC? Of course, we all know about Iring Chucky Lozano, but what are some of the players that are we to keep an eye on, especially as we head into the Sunday's match?
Yeah, no, I mean they announced their second DP signing, Anders Dreyer from Denmark, playing in Belgium. So I mean he's a baller. He's 25 years old. He's kind of reaching the peak of his career right now, his prime, and he has a nasty left foot that he can cut in and take shots. He's very accurate with that shot as well, and just cutting in and taking players one on one. They signed San Diego product Luca de la Torre, who left San Diego as a youngster to go play overseas. Uh, Played in Celta Vigo, didn't get as many minutes, but also put minutes with the national team. He's back in San Diego on loan from Celta Vigo. He's definitely going to be potentially top five midfielder in the MLS. And then again, kind of like Jeppe folks who came from FC Northland as well, who's going to be the captain of the team. Everything goes through him. He's great at the long ball. He's great at defending as well. So they're definitely going to be interesting to watch. And then the backline, that's the worrying part. There's not a lot of depth there. You have Patty McNair and McVeigh kind of leading the front as a starting center back duo right now because Andres Reyes is somehow injured. Head coach Mikey Vadas didn't use the word injury. He said more of a soreness on the knee. So that could be alarming for a lot of fans, but it looks like McVeigh and Patty McNair are going to be leading that front line and the back line. And then the big worry is the goalkeeper position. CJ Dos Santos, he's going to be the starting goalkeeper, and he's still young. We all know goalkeepers peak around 30 years old, and that's their prime. And sorry about that. My kitty cat just wants to be on the podcast too. Um, and yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen on goal. You know, a very young goalkeeper, inexperienced, can make mistakes. The backup goalkeeper is about 30 years old, Pablo Cisniega. So it's kind of well rounded, but then there's also a lot of depth worry.
So I wanted to ask you guys this the last time you guys were on, but obviously the team was still coming together. Now I feel like it's more appropriate to ask: do you feel content with what San Diego has put together for this upcoming season? And when you look back at teams like Atlanta United, LAFC, that when they had their opportunity to prepare for the expansion, they put together really strong teams and have remained largely competitive since they came into the league. Do you feel the same way about San Diego? Do you feel confident, say, hey, they went out and did the best they could?
Look, I think San Diego FC is trying to be sneaky with it. I think they're getting a bunch of players that are not well known, that are ballers, and it's either going to go two ways. They're either going to surprise everyone and they're going to compete for one of the top four spots on the table in the Western Conference, or they're going to be the laughing stock of the league. It's going to backfire on them, and they're just going to be bottom three, and it's not going to work. I don't think there's going to be an in between. To be honest, it's either going to be they're really good or it's going to be a catastrophe of a season for them. Obviously, you have Chucky Lozano, who, by the way, in Coachella, man, he just looks different. He's the levels ahead of a lot of players in this league, and even at 29, 30 years old, he is still breaking ankles. He's leaving players in the dust, so he's definitely going to be special, and he's going to be the go-to for any play. But then you also kind of, again, like have Luca de la Torre, who has a lot to prove and wants to get back into that national team call up, right? I asked him if he's talked to Pochettino before making the move back to MLS, and he said, no, I haven't really talked to him. I just kind of want to get my minutes, and if I get called up, I get called up. So not a lot of excitement there from him, but he has stuff to prove still. So uh, I hope it works out for the sake of San Diego. But yeah, I think they're definitely trying to be sneaky with it.
I noticed that in the MLS power rankings, they have San Diego at 28 out of 30. Do you think that's a fair assessment heading into the season?
Honestly, not gonna lie, I think so. That's again, it's a team that you see on paper, and you're like, how is this going to work? So I can see how they're ranked pretty low, and again, I think that's gonna contribute to that surprising factor of if they play well, like whoa, they're actually a competitive team. Again, the backline worries me. The depth in the backline is a little scary, and again, the goalkeeping position. can be concerning. But if the attacking front that's on there is scoring 5 goals, 4 goals a game, then it's going to be hard to beat them too.
What kind of formations do you think Mikey Varas will employ with San Diego FC as they head into the season?
They're going to be going with like a 4-3-3, but the right back position, whether it's Lofelsen or really Kumado, they're going to be playing a little more attacking as well. So it can transition into a three back line with either McVeigh or Reyes, Patty McNair, and Negri joining there. Uh, two defensive midfielders. Right now, the starting midfielders are going to be Yepes, Sersok, and Aníbal Godoy. And then Luca de la Torre kind of playing a little in front of them. He's going to have a lot of freedom to move around the midfield wherever he needs to go. And then the front three is going to be Chucky on the left, Dreyer on the right, and then Marcos Invaxten at the striker position. So on paper, it looks like a 4-3-3.
What are your hopes for 2025? And I know we're kind of going through all this real fast, but I just want to get an idea of what San Diego will have to offer against LA Galaxy and then later in the season. But what is your hope ultimately for 2025 for this team?
Yeah, I want them to play competitively. I want them to play attractive football, which is, I think, what a lot of people want to see out of them. I want them to have a great build-up. I want them to just have that counterattack available. By the way, counterattacking is going to be their weakness. So if Galaxy or any of your teams is great at the counterattack, they're more than likely going to beat San Diego FC. But what I hope to see is just the players building that chemistry, and I hope the team just kind of develops a better relationship with the city and the community. But on the field, I want them to play attractive football and just score some goals.
Do you think some people still feel upset about the whole issue with San Diego Loyo, or once the season begins, you think they're gonna erase all that and just focus on the future and San Diego FC?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think some people still hold a grudge a bit. It's been over a year. I think a lot of people have kind of gotten over that already. And now that the season's about to start, if you're a true soccer fan, you're like, okay, wait, season's about to start. I kind of want to root for a team or watch soccer this season, so they kind of get on board. So I think a lot of people have kind of moved past that, but there's still that percentage of fans that will never forget what San Diego Loyal did for the community.
So we were talking about the hopes we have for this club, but now let's get to the nitty gritty, right? What do you think are the real expectations for 2025? And is there somewhere where your hopes and maybe the real expectations can come and meet at some point?
Look, I think obviously the team will tell you the expectations is to build that chemistry and make a run for the MLS Cup. I think the actual expectations is be competitive enough to make playoffs. Which, by the way, if you don't make playoffs in MLS, then you all know then you're pretty much not a really good soccer team. A lot of teams end up kind of pushing through playoffs here, but yeah, I think the expectation and the hope is that they'll make playoffs and just make a name for themselves, whether it's that or being competitive in the Leagues Cup. I think if they find anything between there, they can say it's a successful year. So whether it's MLS or Leagues Cup, they'll have to be competitive.
You mentioned Leagues Cup, and do you know who San Diego FC is going to be facing in Leagues Cup? Can you tell us?
Yeah, they're facing Tigres, Mazatlan, and Pachuca. So Chucky Lozano gets to face his childhood club, Club Pachuca, and he may have to score on them. Whether he celebrates or not, that's a different story. I don't think he would celebrate if he scores on them, but I'm sure he has that game circled in his calendar. Like, that's exciting for him, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Pachuca fans are also excited for that one.
How do you feel about that, by the way? Because I saw an article in the Athletic talking about celebrating against your old team. How do you feel about that? Do you think, yeah, it's fine. You're no longer playing for that team. You want to ingratiate yourself with your new fans, and you're gonna celebrate that goal, or do you still show some respect to the old team?
I think it depends. I think it depends how you leave the club. Like if you leave in good graces, like we saw Bebote leaving Feyenoord with AC Milan, and he scores today against them. He doesn't celebrate. He left in good graces. But we've also seen them in the Liga MX where Alexis Vega leaves Chivas and not in the best relationship, scores against them over the weekend and kisses the shield of Toluca. Like there's that fine line of difference of how you leave the club. I think if the club kind of threw you under the bus and said, "Hey, we don't want you here anymore," and just shipped you away, by all means celebrate, go at it. It's their mistake. But if you left in good grace and you were there for a while and you were a hero and everything's good, showing that respect also works. But yeah, I personally love it when players celebrate, like go all out, fuck it, why not?
I was really hoping, like against all hope, that they would put San Diego FC in a match against Tijuana just for the hell of it. Because my God, they're like, how far away is San Diego and Tijuana? It's like what, like less than 50 miles, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. They are going to be having a friendly in September. So they have a partnership of 5 year of friendly games. So they're going to be playing a game each season. It's September 26th, I believe, in the Mexican Independence Day. They'll be having those games at Snapdragon. So they are facing Cholos, not an official setting, but maybe in the League's Cup they playing in playoffs or something. But yeah, they're definitely going to be facing them.
I know. Continuing with the whole thing about robbery and local, especially here in California, do you see San Diego FC developing more of an organic rivalry with LA Galaxy, LAFC, San Jose, maybe another team from the region?
Yeah, no, I think I mentioned it before, right? But I think Galaxy and San Diego FC can somehow find a way to be buddy buddy, and I think San Diego FC has some sort of bigger rivalry with LAFC. Comparing that, Tom Penn was started at LAFC, and now he came to San Diego and started San Diego FC. It has that similar kind of start where first DP signing is a Mexican star that's close to the 30-year-old mark, right? With Carlos Vela with LAFC and then Chucky Lozano with San Diego FC. I think LAFC supporters have kind of started that rivalry, just making fun of the supporters group here in San Diego.
Oh wow.
I mean, we know the LAFC supporters, they're a big one in MLS, and San Diego FC wants to kind of match that energy. So I am a little nervous when LAFC comes to Snapdragon because they're gonna bring a lot of supporters, and I'm hoping the supporter section at Snapdragon is popping by then.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. What about against San Jose? Because last year San Jose was not that good.
Yeah.
They ended up having to get rid of Cade Cowell, who I at the time I was like, man, this guy's gonna be good. They should hold on to this kid. I know you're a Chivas fan. He's had a big impact on the club there. What if what about San Jose Earthquakes? Do you think there could be something there between San Jose and San Diego?
I would say maybe the Earthquake fans would want to create that rivalry. I'm not sure if San Diego would want to. But yeah, I think there can definitely be something there. Whether a lot of San Diego fans make the trip up there or vice versa, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's more of a LA rivalry thing. For some
Okay.
reason, San Diegans really hate LA.
I wonder why. Took the basketball team, took the football team. I
I
mean,
was born in
damn.
LA, so I mean, I have some LA teams when it comes to football and
Yeah.
basketball, but uh, when it comes to soccer, I kind of stick to my European teams or Mexican teams and make MLS kind of like a neutral zone. By the way, I renounce myself from watching any Liga MX this season because I'm trying to focus so much on just MLS.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
and so, yeah, I'm excited for the season to start.
Okay, so what can you tell us about the availability report for this Sunday? Are the San Diego players mostly healthy, or do you have anybody that's nursing any injuries?
Yeah, so Andres Reyes is still kind of like nursing that sore knee in a way where Mike Iwata said he'll be available, whether he's starting, probably not. I know Franco Negri came off early in that last preseason game in Coachella. Just kind of he felt something in the hamstring, just playing it safe to be ready for Sunday. So, to my understanding, everyone's there, everyone's match fit. Uh, I can tell you the starting lineup right now if you want. Mikey Vadas told media today that
Go for it.
what
Go
we
for it.
saw against Red Bulls is pretty much what we're going to see against Galaxy. On goal, it's going to be CJ Dos Santos. At the right back position is going to be Lofelsen. The center back duo is going to be McVeigh and Patty McNair. Left back starting is going to be Franco Negri. The two center midfielders is going to be Yepes Cerso with wearing the captain armband and Anibal Godoy. In front of them is going to be Luca de la Torre, the right winger Anders Dreyer, the striker in Varsen, and the left winger Chucky Lozano.
Well, for the LA Galaxy, obviously we already know that Ricky Puig is out until sometime in mid to late July, and then of course Joseph Pinto picked up a hamstring injury. He's going to be out for at least 5 more weeks. Hopefully, he can come back sooner than that. But nothing really else to really talk about at this moment. Those are the two biggest things that are going to affect the team. Means that Gabriel Peck is going to have uh, a lot of responsibility to fall on his shoulders. We're going to see if Lucas Sanabria can come in and make an impact in that position in midfield, as long as well as some of the other Galaxy players that we saw have a difficult time against Chicago's defense in Coachella. We finally got to see Marco Royce play a game. He looked a little bit rusty, but I wouldn't worry too much about it because I think once the season opener begins and you get into the stadium, you get all that hype. I think he's going to lock in. But let's get into predictions, Chiva. This is where the rubber meets the road, man.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for this game?
Yeah, no, I've definitely on our podcast last night we talked about it a little bit, and my co-host Tony just hates doing predictions. I personally love it. I think San Diego FC is going to surprise a little bit, especially with those injuries that you mentioned for Galaxy. I think if San Diego FC pull off a tie, that's kind of like a step in the right direction, especially starting your season opener on the road against the defending champions. I'm thinking a 2-2 draw. That's kind of what I'm pulling there. I know Galaxy still kind of coming off injuries and then coming off the preseason. They're still a little rusty. San Diego C kind of build off that momentum of scoring 6 goals in their last preseason game and getting that hype of coming into MLS. I think it's a 2-2 draw, man.
Well, we have a super chat from Adam. Adam, $2 super chat asks, early expectations for San Diego. You might have mentioned this already, but can you tell us once more, please?
Yeah, just getting that chemistry. I think early in the season, you find that rhythm, you find your identity. That's going to be the early expectations for San Diego FC. Scoring goals, San Diego soccer in general, for some reason, had a difficulty scoring goals, especially with San Diego Wave last season in the NWSL. San Diego Loyal 1 year had the most goals in the USL Championship, and then another season just kind of fell off. So hopefully, San Diego FC is able to score some goals.
You mentioned San Diego Loyo again, and it's kind of hard not to mention the one thing that binds both San Diego and LA together, and that's the connection we have with Landon Donovan. Landon Donovan was such a fixture and manager with San Diego Loyo. Um, how do San Diego fans see Landon Donovan right now? Especially, does he have any connection at all with San Diego FC? And if so, what if he shows up to the stadium? Are they going to cheer him? Are they going to boo him?
He has no connections right now with San Diego FC. This guy is just busy doing his podcast with Tim Howard. And he was on that one show on Hulu about the military or something like that, survival or something. And honestly, I feel like he's just living life. He's able to go rogue on his podcast and say whatever he wants to say. I personally enjoy listening to that podcast. And yeah, like as of now, he was the interim head coach for San Diego Wave, and he's no longer there anymore, which part of me wants to guess that he was going to be the interim from the start, and then because he had that show he couldn't do it and they had to get a different interim, and then Landon came in. So whether he wants to keep coaching, I don't know if coaching is his thing. I see him more of a scout or a youth development coach or something like that. He always had interest in growing the youngsters and Loyal and Wave. But yeah, no ties with San Diego FC whatsoever.
Well, it's time for my prediction. I like you said that game against Red Bull that San Diego had. That's really interesting, right? That what a crazy result was 6-0, right? So it makes you wonder, right? Because Red Bull came out of the East to play LA Galaxy in MLS Cup final. Were they taking that match really that seriously, or did things just get out of hand for them? Well, who knows? I mean, it's the preseason, but I think that LA Galaxy will they're probably going to have a ring celebration at that game. They're going to probably lift another banner. So I think all of that, they're going to feel that pressure that they have to come out and win a game, especially against an expansion site like San Diego FC. Anything but a victory will probably be seen as a negative result, I feel. So I think that LA Galaxy will come out and put a solid performance. I think it'll be 3-1. I think San Diego's going to score their first goal in this game, and it's going to give San Diego fans something to hope for the rest of the season. But in the end, LA Galaxy, even though they've lost a lot of players, most of the club is still there. And I think that they have enough firepower that they're going to be able to stem San Diego, at least for now. You never know with expansion teams because we saw how Atlanta and LAFC came into the league. They both came in like a house on fire, and they surprised everyone. So who's to know that San Diego's going to do the same thing? Irving Lozano, Uchuki, he might have the superstar performance that might lift his team into something more than that 3-1 that I'm predicting. If that's the case, then we might have that 2-2 draw that Chiva's saying. But either way, I don't see San Diego beating LA Galaxy in this game. But overall, I still am looking forward to a very exciting match. So hopefully some positive interaction between the LA Galaxy fans and San Diego FC fans. Um, because some time has passed since we last spoke, Chiba.
Yeah.
Has a team developed some traditions already? Has some chants that San Diego FC fans are gonna probably use in the game against Galaxy besides the beat LA? Is there something that we should expect from them?
Yeah, no, I think they definitely have their chants down. I wouldn't know the actual chants. I'm not part of the supporters section or anything like that. But from my understanding, they're holding drum circles. They're getting practices in. They're getting ready to be 100% ready for the match day. So I know this past weekend, San Diego FC kind of held their kickoff party where fans got to meet the players and they got to get autographs from Chucky and other players. I saw some player getting seated next to Chucky Lozano and then didn't get to sign anything. He was just chilling, and Chucky got all the signatures down. So, yeah, no, I don't know about traditions either. I think everyone's just kind of going with the flow this season and trying to see what happens.
Going with the flow, isn't that part of like the team's motto right now? The team's
It'll flow.
mantra.
Yep, that's what it is.
So, before we get going, tell us about the new kit because we saw the team unveil the home kit not that long ago. Some people felt it was underwhelming, and I mean, I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna do a kit review. You shared your thoughts on that, but can you tell the people that are watching right now what you feel about the away kit that the team put out? Because they're probably going to be wearing the dark one, right? On Sunday,
Yeah.
Galaxy usually wears white at home. But what can you tell us about the away kit, which they waited until like the last week,
Yeah.
right before the season started?
Yeah, no, I mean, I my issues with the kids, I think they're very safe. I don't think they're horrible or they're excellent. I think the big issue is just Adidas dropping template kits for everyone, and I think you kind of have to build some rapport in MLS to be able to kind of get out of those template kits. You see, the away kit is very similar to the LAFC kit, just the color wave, and then LAFC has the collar. So other than that, it's the same design on the sides, just different colors. So I think they're very safe. I had to rate it. I would rate it a C. I think it's safe. I think it's something that can definitely show. My big thing with kits is also how the numbers look. If I can't tell apart the number on a player on the field on TV or in person, then I think that's a terrible kit design. But yeah, I think a lot of issue with this away kit that the community had is the way the marketing team kind of went about it. It said it was more of a blank canvas for the city of San Diego, and just because San Diego can also be a blank canvas themselves. To be honest, it ticked off some people. I don't think it's that deep, but again, San Diego, the San Diego community likes to stand together, and they just want to be represented, right?
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was interesting that they mentioned that it was like a blank canvas
Mhm.
because I think like 2, maybe 3 years ago, FC Cincinnati released a kit that they call like the art kit or something like that. The art kit. It was supposed to celebrate the artistic endeavors of local artists, right, in Cincinnati. And would you believe it? It was a white kit that had collar, like a collar that had like little orange and blue highlights. And I'm like, what the
Yeah,
heck is this? I thought
yeah,
you said you're gonna celebrate artistic culture, from the local, artists, and all you have is like a blank uniform.
yeah,
Oh,
pueden
come on,
dibujarla ahí en el.
guys, right?
I will say the
So
Wicked has like some grayish lines across it. It's not just white, so it does look nicer in person than it looks on pictures. And I'll say that for the home and away kit. In person, they look a lot better than just in pictures.
well, it's a far cry from what San Diego lawyer used to put out because man, some of those kids were gorgeous, man.
Yeah, Charlie did a good job. I mean, there's other USL clubs partnering now with Charlie, and we see some of those kids in Liga MX as well. And yeah, they go all out for the kids, man.
Well, Chiba, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been kind of a short show, but you know what? We still don't have the ref report. The referee assignments haven't been put out yet, and that's I think a lot of times it's kind of like reading the tea leaves. You look into it, and like what's the big deal? It's just the referee, right? But I did referee. I've been doing ref reports for like a season and a half now, and there is a pattern there. I'm telling you, man.
Hey man,
It's
I'm
not.
telling you, the refereeing at Coachella was awful, and
Oh yeah.
I kept telling people, you gotta remember this: MLS is still part of CONCACAF, and CONCACAF
Oh yeah.
is awful. Whether it's Liga MX, whether it's MLS, whether it's USL, refereeing is going to be an issue. I mean, there was a foul I think on the first game for San Diego FC where the backup goalkeeper for New York just body slams Alex Mighton, and it should have been a red card, and it looked like a penalty too, and it was called out. It was called outside the box. It was a yellow card. It was a last man situation. So I keep telling everyone, don't expect anything from refereeing. It's going to be awful. It doesn't matter if it's MLS. It's going to be really bad.
At least we have actual pro referees this year. Like because last season, the professional referees organization, they were on strike,
Mhm.
and we got some backup refs, some like part-time referees, and the referee that we got for a season opener against Inter Miami, it was a guy who was literally a DJ on the weekends, right? And there was a
Awesome.
call toward the end of the game where he gave a phantom red card to a Galaxy player, and then he gave Inter Miami enough added time until Messi tied the game, and then the game was over shortly after that. So a lot of people are like, "What the heck was that?" Right?
Yeah.
The regular referees came back, and people were still complaining. So
There's a teacher in my high school here in Chula Vista High School that's also a referee, and she got to referees some games as well last season. So yeah, man. Hopefully it's better this season.
yeah, CONCACAF is exciting at least, right?
Oh yeah, you always get
Well,
CONCACAF.
oh yeah. Well, Chiva, hopefully we see you here on Sunday. I know you guys are still waiting to hear back from, as far as availability for credentials, but hopefully we get to see you guys on Sunday. We get to share a drink or two, maybe, before or after the match. But for anybody who wants to know more about San Diego FC, whether it's, hearing from you, Chiva, or from your partner, Tony, where can they find you guys on social media?
Yeah, you can find everything on our website. It's right there, san diego.futbol, san diego.futbol, FUTBOL, and on social media at san diego.futbol everywhere on X, Instagram, Blue Sky. That's where you can find us. Check out on our website our articles by our very own Abraham Cepeda, who's doing a great job covering both San Diego FC and San Diego Wave. But yeah, we have another podcast under the San Diego Football umbrella called Club Deportivo Movie Club, where ESPN writer Cesar Hernandez and our friend Drew Stork, while they watch soccer movies, and they kind of break it down for everyone. So definitely check that out.
Do they review Captain Subasa? Because that'd be fun, man.
Yeah, no, they have a list of like 90 movies that they're gonna get to. And they do one once a month. And then again, check out our podcast, Two Balls in a Mic, like every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We just dropped episode 264 yesterday and haven't missed a week since we started 5 years ago.
Are you guys gonna do like a soft reboot and start with season one now that you're entering MLS?
Nah, we're gonna keep it writing, man. Like I think we've gotten to celebrate our 5 year anniversary. Tony and I work for the YMCA full time here in San Diego, and we got together kind of like a charity match for our annual campaign, and we've gotten different community members to participate uh, in that charity match. So we're excited for that, and that's how we're celebrating our 5 year anniversary.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you guys again later this season. The match will be at Snapdragon later this season, but first things first, right? The season opener at Dignity Health Sports Park. Telling everybody, please have a good time out there. You're the champs, right? Galaxy fans, you're the champs. There's no reason to go out there and throw it into people's faces. They already know. So if you see San Diego fans, be kind, yeah, be welcoming. Let them know that you guys are cool, that they're welcome here in our stadium, and that we're here to celebrate Major League Soccer's 30th season. Right? Who would have thought that this league would be going strong 30 years later? I know that when I first got there in 1996 for that first match, I was really excited that we had a league like this. 30 years later, I'm still just happy that we have something like this for ourselves. Even though it's CONCACAF, right? CONCACAF has its quirks, but it's our league, it's ours, right? And now people like Chiva and Tony can say that about Major League Soccer. They can say, this is ours. Is this something that that it belongs to us, and we take care of it and we care for it, and we're all together a MLS family. So Chiva, thank you so much. Brian, thank you again so much for producing. Brian, can we have some horns for Chiva? Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, for everybody here at News Across the Galaxy, thank you so much for tuning in to the midweek show. We look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday. If you guys see us, come and holler, take photos, and hopefully we'll see you guys after the game so we can do some post-match reaction. Until then, thank you so much for joining us at News Across the Galaxy. Keep on nagging, and as I always say, baby, Wu-Tang for life. Let's go.